All right, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about, are you playing offense or are you playing defense? And this came to mind. I was watching the World Cup soccer, and if you're listening to this, World Cup was probably at least a month, maybe 6 weeks when you're listening to this ago. But you see it all the time in any sports. But I was watching the World Cup, and one of the teams was um, definitely playing more offensive. Actually, it was Argentina. It was the what was it, semifinal game, I think. The last whatever it was, 10 minutes of the game, I think they had 2 or 3 goals. And you could tell they were playing way different those last 10 minutes of the game than they did the entire first portion of the game. And they came back. I think they were down 1-0 with like 10 minutes left. And in soccer, like that is basically you're down 40 in basketball, right? Like that's a huge amount with that little time. And really, and I don't know soccer, but the other team, all they had to do was really control the ball. But you had Argentina that all of a sudden started playing really offensive and playing aggressive and looking to score. And you had the other team who completely went into let's control the ball, try to control the game, and wasn't aggressive. And part of it, yeah, they need to play defense a little bit or defensive a little bit, but they went in complete defensive mode and lost last 2 minutes of the game, or last 10 minutes of the game. And this was a couple weeks ago, so I don't remember the final score, but um, you see it all the time in other sports. You see it in basketball. Anytime I see a team that's down, especially in the playoffs, because regular season teams, you just never know what's going to happen. But uh, during the playoffs, you'll see a team that's down 20 points at halftime or into the third quarter. I'm like, the other team's probably going to win. The team that's down 20 because they're going to come out and they're going to be aggressive. They have nothing. They're going to play like they have nothing to lose. While the team that's up 20 is going to play defensive. They're going to take so-called safe shots. They're going to be just more reserved. You see it all the time. Whenever I see a team that's down by 20 going into the fourth quarter, there's a good chance that team that's down 20 is probably going to win. If worst case, they're going to make a comeback. Like it's going to happen. You see it all the time in football. It's called prevent defense, and I've never understood it, but it'll be. And I don't know football, but I've never understood it because teams will be up, whatever, by 10, 2 touchdowns, whatever it is, 5 minutes left in the game, and they go to prevent defense, which basically means they're letting the ball go with anything underneath, whether that's 10, 15 yards, whatever. So they're allowing the offense to gain yards. It still blows my mind. Like I get a certain point of it to where you can't give up long, big plays, right? Definitely can't do that. But they're just letting teams, and it happens all the time. They're just letting teams take 5, 7, 10 yards, and it's only taking like 2, 3 seconds off the clock because they're running out of bounds or whatever it is. So you see it all the time in sports. Obviously, is what I just gave you some examples, but it happens in business all the time. And I'm going to relate it to self storage because it's what I do. Um, but really, the best way to kind of look at it is, are you building or are you surviving? And I think there's probably a third one in there where you're just chilling and you're not even surviving, you're just chilling. And you think because I've got a website up, I've got a phone number, my facility is going to lease up, it's going to continue to lease up, it's going to continue to do well. That's not the case. In 2021, even parts of probably the second half of 2020, 2021, 2022, for 2.5, 3 years, that was the case. You could have horrible service. You could have horrible management. You could have a horrible facility, horrible business all the way around, and you were still probably 100% occupied. That's not the case anymore. That was an anomaly. Storage has never been like that. Most businesses have never been like that. COVID was different for pretty much every business on the planet. Um, and I think people that, not all people, but I think some people that got in around that time thought that it was kind of easy street and they could just continue to roll with that. And I keep seeing it. And it seems like every episode I do, I keep talking about it. Every week I hear about someone else, a real estate investor, that is one of their deals or multiple deals are not working for them. And a lot of it is because, yes, underwriting wasn't the greatest, more than likely, but, and I've talked about this a lot, you can buy a great deal and have, and it can be great day one, right? It can be great year one. But if you're not running an actual business and being playing offense, there's a good chance that great deal turns into a bad deal. There's a great chance. I'm seeing it happens all the time. Um, if the owner doesn't know competitors' rates in the market, doesn't if they don't know what promotions are of their competitors, if they don't know, your occupancy, if you don't know certain KPIs, right? Throw in KPI, whatever KPI in there that you use. Are you even using KPIs? Right? A lot of these owners are not. They don't, they're just giving it to the third party call center or management. And they're like, oh, yeah, I trust them. They're going to do a good job. No, no, that's worse than playing defense. I would rather see you play defense than that. That's just chilling. That's the whole other side. If you're doing that, you're probably not listening to the show, for one. But if you're doing that, take a look in the mirror. Things could go sideways pretty quick if you don't have your finger on the pulse, and you're not, if you're not paying attention to KPIs, if you're not managing your team, if you're not doing all those things in business that you need to do. So, are you building or are you surviving? I think a lot of, not just storage owners, but business owners in general, spend a lot of time in their emails and putting out fires. And listen, there are days where I get caught up in it, to where it feels like, especially for the last, I mean, we just closed on a facility, well, just about a month ago, 5 weeks ago, when this show is being recorded. And it's a lot of taking care of small tasks, putting out some fires, things like that, that aren't necessarily really moving the needle. And when I say moving the needle, the revenue, it's not really moving the revenue, but it's getting it in a good position to where, for what I'm doing, getting it in a position to where, just yesterday I went up to the site, had a couple signs I wanted to put up, and also we just got stoned down for parking. I put up some parking signs really quick. Could have had our helper do it, our maintenance guy. But it was something that I kind of want to lay it out, did it. I mean, I was only up there, I don't know, hour and a half probably total. Um, but this is something that we've got great systems in place and great people in place, to where it's a one-time thing for me. While I'm kind of so-called putting out fires right now, a couple weeks, maybe sooner than that, I'll be back to being in my seat of how do we grow revenue and maybe even shrink expenses as well, but really focus on growing revenue. Um, and if you're not doing that, again, you're basically surviving or trying to survive. You're playing defense. And as you know, going back to my sports analogies, playing defense will only get you so far. At some point, someone's going to be way more offensive than you, and you know, kind of not make your business look so great. Um, so yeah, get out of those day to day putting out fires all the time. I know we all get caught up in it, but you got to get out of it. Putting out fires is defensive, right? You can't be doing that at all times. There's definitely seasons. There's times when you need to jump in probably and do that. But if you're constantly doing that, you don't have a business. You've got a hobby, and you're probably going to have hobby results. And this is why, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but this is why we've got two, I don't want to call them full time, but two maintenance guys, kind of two and a half. We got an extra helper for a few of our sites, but we basically have two maintenance guys that work 30-ish hours a week. I guess you can kind of call them semi part-time or semi full-time maybe. But before that, we had one full-time maintenance guy. Before that, we had a bunch of part-time maintenance people, helpers, call them boots on the ground, local people that were helping out. We got part-time results from those people. Once we took it serious, and listen, not and wasn't those people's faults, right? All great people. We just didn't expect much up from them because they were part time. They didn't expect much of the position because they were part time. I think there's value in bringing someone on as full time as you possibly can, and their mindset changes. Your expectations change. Their expectations probably change, and you should have a better outcome all the way around, right? Not just with them, but then that translate to how your facility looks. And then things just grow from there. And we've been on that path, especially for the past 18-ish months, with bringing in full-time maintenance people, with bringing over the call center in-house. We've really done things to stop playing defense, and play more offensively. So even with the call center and the last call center we used, I think we used them for 3-ish years, did a pretty good job, especially for a third party call center, probably one of the best ones out there, did a pretty good job. But I knew bringing that in-house is playing way more not offensive, but playing more on offense than kind of playing prevent defense, right? I knew we could control more things. I knew we could kind of train our reps to be more like salespeople, better customer service, just better service all the way around. So you've got to look at all those things. I've got a few other things written down here, but playing defense again, it's putting out fires, but it's making you look like you're busy, doing busy work. And again, we all get caught up in it. I've talked about it before where you should take some time, and I'm working on it. I've gotten better, but I'm still working on it. Should take some time on really visualizing and seeing what your business looks like in the future. 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, whatever. You should take some time and visualize that. What does it look like? Where are you going? What team members will be with you? What do their roles look like? If it's obviously I'm in self storage, what does that look like? How many locations do we have? All those things. You should be you should be visualizing all those things and then figuring out what components, what levers you need to pull or components you need to put in, systems you need to put in to get there, right? And I think if you're not doing this, again, you're treating it like a hobby and you're just kind of letting things fall as they may. And maybe sometimes they'll fall where you like them to fall. But if there's no planning, no visualization, you're setting yourself up for failure. Um, so to kind of piggyback off that, I would challenge anyone that's listening, and I'm gonna challenge myself too. How many hours last 2 weeks did you focus on growing revenue? Right. So how many the past 2 weeks, how many hours did you put in on just focus on growing revenue? And that could look like analyzing deals. That could look like rent raises. That could look like street rate increases. That could look like, and we just did this. I went back to our tenant insurance carrier and asked them to. I mean, we've grown since we've onboarded with them about a year and a half ago. We've grown. We've added units, and I asked them if we could get a higher cut of the revenue that we're bringing in. And they came back to me and they said, "Yeah, we can do a higher cut. It's not a ton. It definitely moves the needle, and it helps with some of our expenses that are increasing because it's what expenses do, continually increase. But looking at things like that, right? Can you do marketing better? Where is your marketing? How does that look? And that can be for finding deals. That can be for new rentals, right? So you've got to look at all those things. How much focus, how much time have you put in the last 2 weeks on growing revenue? I challenge you to kind of review that. You've got to think more like a CEO, less like a manager. And I've been on this journey. I definitely think myself and the team have made strides, especially in the past year, 2 years. I mean, I'm looking back 3 years, 4 years ago. It's the way I handle our business, kind of run our business is night and day from what it was 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. Um, and really proud of the people on our team for where we're at and where we're going. So it's cool, but you've got to think more like a CEO and less like a manager. Um, and here, as I start to wrap up here, here are some easy things that I wrote down that maybe some examples of what what playing offense could look like and what playing defense could look like. We'll start with defense, emails. And I have not gotten away from, I guess, offloading my emails. I don't get enough to do that. The emails that come in are that I have to pay any type of time to are pretty important. They're more high level. Um, so I have not offloaded those. But if you're getting hundreds of emails a day, more than likely a lot of those are just tasks that you're putting on your to-do list, right? Fortunately for myself, knock on wood, 95% of my emails are not like that. Probably higher than that. So emails, that's playing defense. If you're handling 100 emails a day and adding tasks to your list, basically, which is kind of what emails are, you probably need to look at that and how can you change that? Are you dealing with tenant issues? If you own self-storage facilities, and especially listen, there's a time and place when you've got to deal with all this stuff yourself for multiple reasons. There's good reasons to do that, but one being you're not big enough and you don't have the money coming in to offload it. But if you got multiple facilities and you're still handling tenant issues, that you're playing defense, right? You've got to offload that to somebody. I mean, I did that probably year 2 when we had 3 or 4 sites. I handed over the emails, the facility emails to somebody, which also was the call center we're using at the time. They would email us too with any questions or issues. So I hired someone really early to handle those things. You shouldn't be inside the tenant issues. It's death by a thousand cuts, right? And I've talked about this before. You want to focus on the bigger picture and the revenue generating items. If you're dealing with, oh, Susie's unit had a water leak last week, and she needs help, filing a claim or whatever it is. If you're dealing with that, it's going to take up a lot of mind space and energy to where you're losing complete momentum on trying to grow revenue. So you shouldn't be dealing with if you're an owner and you're dealing with tenant issues and you've got multiple sites, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and think, all right, where's this going? Am I treating this like a business? And if you got multiple sites and you're handling that yourself, you're probably not treating it like a business. Another way where you could be playing defense is looking at reports with no action. And I know, I mean, I look at reports. I look at our management summary report probably, and I've changed it a little bit, but I do look at move-ins and revenue collected multiple times a day. I without a doubt look at that. Those are strong KPIs that I myself need to pay attention to. And if you're just looking at those and not taking any action, you're probably playing defense. If you're looking at those and thinking, all right, we just had whatever 5 move outs today, we had 1 move in last week, we're not getting the positive traction we should be, and you start to take action, then that's good. But if you're just looking at that and kind of thinking, oh no, this isn't good, the market's falling, market's getting bad, and you don't do anything, it's playing defense. And then I had one last thing here too is, and I don't know if this is necessarily playing defense or not, but to me, this is hindering a lot of businesses, especially storage owners and real estate investors in general, is having cheap help. And you maybe will get away with it for a little bit, but if they're an A player and they've been with you for some time and you're not paying well or they're part-time or whatever it is, they're cheap help, they're going to find something else. I got away with it with, and I'm going to compare it to kind of my district manager position. Again, I kind of had that position from, I think it was probably about 12 months in, 12, 14 months in, something like that. I had someone in that position, and initially it was part-time. And guess what? I got part-time. I got part-time outcomes. The second person from the first person. Second person was a buddy of mine. He was really good. I knew that if I couldn't turn that position full time, I was going to lose him, which is what happened. He started his own property management company, and that was before, but he was growing at when I hired him, and I knew that I was going to lose him, and that ended up happening. It was mutual, but ended up losing him, and then brought in who our current district manager is. She started part time, but I knew pretty soon. I mean, it was definitely within the first month, probably first week or so. I knew I need to figure out how to keep her full time, and I wanna say within I don't know, it was definitely within the first year, may have been the first 6 months, I don't remember timeline. But she was full-time pretty quick. And I knew I needed to kind of force that in order to keep her. Um, so yeah, don't have cheap help, and that goes to contractors too. We just had our latest example for myself is we just had, stonework done at the new location we just bought, and there were a lot of places I coulda chosen from. I could have went on Facebook, found somebody that would take the topsoil up, put stone down, compact it. I could have went the cheap route and probably paid half the amount, but I went with a reputable company that one that have a website. They seem like the biggest company in the area. They work with commercial customers. I think they do some residential, but mostly commercial customers. That's who I wanted to use, and I've learned the hard way. I've learned that I have to spend a little bit extra to get the quality of work. Because in a year, 2 years, I shouldn't the way they did I just saw it yesterday, the way they did it, I'm hoping I don't have to mess with it for 10 plus years. They did a fantastic job, and I've used cheap labor before to where we were redoing it within a year or less. So don't skip on labor in general, or vendors or materials or anything. Don't skip on that. So that's all defense. Offense, I'm gonna go through this a little bit quicker. So if you're playing offense, you're trying to increase revenue, right? To keep it simple, that's what you're trying to do. That's a big picture. Could be analyzing deals. Could be analyzing your marketing. Either that's for new deals or analyzing your marketing for renters for your storage facilities. You should be analyzing that. You shouldn't, to me, I do that in house. I know some people have third party vendors take care of that. That's fine, but you should still know what's going on. You should know the metrics. You should know the conversions. I know for myself, tracking those conversions can be a little bit tougher, but you should do your best to kind of figure out at minimum, and it's a dirty number for me, but at minimum, you should know your cost of acquisition per renter. You should know that. Next one is evaluating your market. You should know what your competitors are doing. You should know who they are, what rates they're charging, what specials they're running, and then how you compare. And to be honest, I know our competitors pretty well. Um, I pay attention to them, but I base our specials and our pricing and our current customers' rates off what we're doing, not our competition. But I know our competitors. I know what they're charging. I know specials they're running. I know who they are. So I know all these things. You've got to evaluate your market. You've got to know what's going on. I heard a story the other week where there's a syndicator that the deal is upside down, so it's negative equity right now. It's not making money for the investors that put money in. And this guy had no idea what specials they were running. He didn't know what a 10 by 10 was running for at their own site. He didn't know what competitors were charging. Had no idea. Blows my mind. Blows my mind that anybody, and this is a guy that's been in it for, I don't know, at least 5, 6 years. Blows my mind that any storage owner doesn't know those things. So evaluate your markets. And last thing is trying to find new value adds. And just easy example, we just added parking at our new location. The facility was fenced and gated. They didn't use the gate, so we did get that up and running. Put cameras in, but now that it's fenced and gated, to me, it's a perfect time put in parking. So we just added some parking spots. We'll see how that goes. But you should be always looking to see where you can create value, more value. So that is all I got. Play offense, be offensive. I'm saying it the wrong way, but play offense. Don't play defense. You can play it. Obviously, there's seasons where you need to, times where you need to. But if you're always in defensive mode, the offense at some point on the other side of the ball is going to take over and crush you. It's just it happens all the time. I mean, we see it with you can pick out companies where it's happened. BlackBerry. Look at BlackBerry. BlackBerry. My guess is majority of the people that are listening right now had a BlackBerry at some point. I know I did. I think I had 2 or 3 of them. Loved it. And then the iPhone came. BlackBerry never adjusted. In fact, I just saw it's been a little while, at least a year probably, but I think BlackBerry's still around, but their phones look very, very similar. They haven't really changed. That's crazy to me, right? A lot of that's probably ego. But yeah, you've got to know what you're doing, what your competitors are doing. You've got to play offense. There's times to play defense, but it's probably not for very long. And then you got to play offense and go for it. So if you made it this far, appreciate it. Again, you can catch us on YouTube, catch us on anywhere you can listen to podcasts, and make sure you like it, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.